Hey guys, Tech Sergeant Vance once again. As you can see by the title here, this is the second Finnish M39 from Classic Firearms that I ordered. If you guys watched my first video, you'll know that I purchased one, and I'm giving you guys a heads up on what the rifles look like coming from Classic Firearms with the cracked stocks. So here we go. Once again, this is the second one that I have ordered, and this one came with a cracked stock. It's a little bit worse for wear than the first one is, and I'm going to take you through some of those things here. My end goal with this video is to create a series of basically archaeology digs into this rifle and the repair of them. So, getting with that, you can see here the rifle doesn't have too much cosmoline on it or any tackiness on the stock. Normally when you get like a SKS or something like that, it's dipped in cosmoline. The only thing really present is the, I'll call it motor oil on the bolt itself. So let's get the camera in and I'll show you a little bit more in depth. Some of you keen-eared people out there will notice that there is no background noise. What I'm doing is overlaying the voice on the video. It's going to start here at the butt plate. As you can see, the screws are present and they're both inserted in there. There is a little bit of pitting on the back, and it's mostly staining from the corrosion just being on there for so long. The metal really hasn't been protected at that point. Right here you can see at the bottom there's a gap in between the actual wood of the stock and the butt plate. Might have just gotten snagged on something, bent up, and then a bunch of crud just got stuck underneath there. Nothing major with that. Moving forward on the buttstock, you can see the Sako maker's mark there. Just aft of that, in this area, there it looks like a sickle and a hammer, or maybe two hammers. I'll have to research that a little bit further in depth. You can see the staining of the wood from the oil. There's a lot of oil soak in this stock. Shouldn't be too bad to draw out. Going to the top end here, you can see right in this area there is a lot of almost like water damage and then just worn. So it might have sat in the snow or something like that too long. The comb up here is pretty good shape. Going to the cavalry swivel here, there's some dents. There's a nice dent in this area right here. Nothing that can't be really steamed out. I don't even know if I'll try. This is the regular swivel. Back here you can see through more water damage and the reinforcements. Right here on the pistol butt grip, I guess it's there's a little crack, but it extends only in that area. And there's also a ding right there in the back end. Pushing the rifle a little bit further back, we're moving on to the action area. You can see the oil staining here a little bit more, just from common use and storage. The finish on the rifle is, I'd say, a good 35-45%. Right here there's more water damage right in the grip area. Once again, could have been just from sitting in snow. You can see the magazine. There's some pitting on the magazine, but the rust that's on there I can scratch off with a fingernail, so it's nothing really crazy. The trigger here, it has the same pitting. It's a little gummy, but that's from the preservative or the motor oil, as I like to call it, because that's what the consistency is. I mean, it's not a real thick oil. The plate here on the bottom, the serial numbers do not match my rifle. They are in the 200,000 range. So this is a little drain hole here in front. It seems consistent throughout all of the rifles that I have seen. Coming to the left hand side, you can see more of that water damage just from usage is what I'm guessing. I'll have to sand it out if I do, but then I'm going to thin the stock, and I don't know if I really want to mess with all that stuff. This is a 200,000 serial mark. The bolt does match the barrel, and so does the pencil etching that I have covered up in tape there. You can see some of the corrosion that's on there. It's mostly staining. I think I'm going to try to cold rust blue this, or not cold rust blue, but rust blue this, and we'll see how that ends up coming out. You can see some of the cartouches there on the sides as well. There is a little line right here. I don't know what that was really indicating, even if it was indicating anything. It could have just been from storage. Moving a little further up, you can see the front sight here. There are some dings on the rear sight, but nothing that a little bluing can't fix up. It's not bent out of proportion. Flipping the rear sight back and forward, you can see that the spring under here is in really good shape. That's usually where you have corrosion. Another thing to note is that front sight, it looks like it has flipped forward in this manner and smacked that forward top handguard, and it has put a crack all the way from the back there to about that area right there. I think some epoxy will fix that right up, so that's superficial. I would not worry about that at all. There are a couple worse cracks in the stock other than this one, so that's just an interesting thing that has come all the way up that forward and smacked that position. So you can see the seam line here. It's a nice tight seam line. There's no spacing in it whatsoever. The front barrel band, or I guess it'd be the mid barrel band or the rear barrel band, whichever you prefer. Let's see here where the grip is. A little bit of wear. Once again, there's no gaps in the actual grafting of the stock. You can see a little bit of the oil soak in right in this area. It just seems like wherever there's metal, that's where you got the oil soak in. The cavalry sling swivel, and that pretty much does it. Moving up to the front here, just a tap test of the top handguard, and there's no cracks up in that portion. The barrel is marked with a 75, and I'm not sure what that means. And then the importer, I guess the original importer, is somewhere in Georgia. I think it was like an FI or something along the lines of that. I'll have to look a little bit closer. Once again, guys, whenever you see my other videos, I'm going to try to do short videos of the taking apart of this. Once again, the bluing is about 45% up here at the front. We'll have to see what the underneath the handguard is. The aft barrel band has that little leaf spring there. I have one that has a pin driven through there and it prevents it from being pushed. One thing you can see here, along the bottom, it looks like the rifle has sometimes been dropped against the corner of a table or a ledge of some sort. So no cracks really present on that. The front end is pretty well intact except for that ding, and there's a scratch on the other side. There is a 7.5 marked on the rear sight, or the front sight, and there is a groove along the front here. I think it's from a muzzle protector cap of some sorts that was on the front of there. And speaking of which, you can see the crown. There doesn't appear to be any real nicks or any abrasions on it, so it seems like it's in pretty good condition. We'll grab the bolt here and take a look. Like I said, the bolt matches the last 4 of the serial number of the stock. You see the bolt face there. It doesn't have any of the rounding over. I'm guessing that these have been changed over at the arsenal level to prevent that sticky Mosin bolt syndrome where that lip will round over. You can see it's covered in the sticky motor oil. It does stick a little bit, but it's nothing like Cosmoline. I mean, you guys really, some simple green and hot water, it comes right off. It is a early bolt because it has the knurling around the cocking knob in the back there, and there's a lot of like cartouches or maker's marks or something on it. You can see the line on the stock to line the firing pin up, and there's that knurling I was talking about. All in all, it's a really smooth bolt. And with that, I want to give you guys a little disclaimer. I didn't talk about any of the major cracks in the stock that redline this rifle. Just be aware that near the tang area, there are some cracks that would prevent me from firing this rifle right now. On my disassembly videos, you're going to see more cracks that present themselves, and I have a pretty good idea on how I'm going to fix them. So you guys are just going to have to tune in for those. And as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in, watching my videos. Look forward for more stuff out on this M39. It's going to be a fun project you guys get to follow along with me on. Thanks for watching.